this is Qualabo 9000 back with another video. Today we are going to be looking at videos that are true. Basically, they have a channel, like a really big channel, and we're just going to go really far into this. I want to see that first video. Fine, we're going to see this one.
Hello, I'm Ruby.
Hello,
I'm
Ruby.
just finished school, and I'm already married and pregnant. Here's how it happened. Everything started a few years ago.
I know a girl that's in high school, and she has no boyfriend, just a baby. It's weird.
Before I became a teenager. I came home from school one day and ran into some police officers who were leaving our apartment. My mom looked pale, and it was obvious that she had just stopped crying. It turned out that my dad had been hit by a bus, and we had lost him. What's there to say now? Of course, it was difficult to overcome this, for both my mom and I. We even started sleeping in the same bed after it happened, because most of the time I would have bad dreams about losing my dad over and over again, and my mom said she would never be able to sleep in their bedroom without him. Almost every night, I would hear her crying in the bathroom. I wanted to help her, to cheer her up, but I didn't know how to. It took us about a month, or maybe a little more, to start to live our normal lives again. But then I began to notice that something wrong was going on with my mom.
What do you mean?
She began drinking literally every day. At first, she said that she was doing it to be able to get better sleep, and I believed her. But one day, I found her sleeping nicely during the middle of the day, which actually meant that she was skipping work. The exact same situation repeated itself a couple more times, to the point that she'd gotten herself fired from 2 different jobs over the next 5 or 6 weeks. Each time she said she was so sorry and even tried to give up alcohol. But without it, she would start to act really aggressively and, unfriendly.
Oh my God.
This happened enough that at some point, our neighbors began to suspect something and called social services.
No!
I spent 111 days at the child care center waiting for my mom's rehabilitation. When she finally came to take me back home, she looked thinner, but overall healthy. I will
Hashtag plastic surgery.
never forget the emotions I had when I saw her through the window. I thought that my happiness was ready to spill out and influence everybody around me.
It's gonna get worse.
I saw that she was enormously
Because you know why? Because look at how much views this has. Look at how much likes that has. And look at how much dislikes that has. Yeah. Okay.
of herself for having quit her bad habit. And so was I. Together, we agreed that it was going to be hard to live in that apartment and beside those same neighbors again. So we packed up our stuff and moved to another city.
Good.
To a totally different environment. It was a tiny town with those streets that have small houses.
I live in a tiny town called Southbridge.
I remember how I was amazed by the view while my mom was driving us to our new home. I knew that our life there was going to be different.
I want to be looking out the window. I would be playing Nagalio on my phone or something.
Better. And I wasn't wrong, by the way.
Probably dominoes.
At least to some extent. Now, Mom had to work hard to provide a living for us, since the house we'd settled in, even though it was a relatively small one, was still a little more expensive than our old apartment. It didn't have a fancy white fence around it, like they did on the neighboring street, and there was practically no land, so we couldn't have a garden or anything around it. But I was really fond of our home, and I loved it from the very first time I saw it. We shared a fence with our nice neighbors, the Gonzalez family, and they sometimes looked after me when my mom had to stay late at work. They had 5 children, but only one of them, Enrico, was my age, and pretty soon we became friends. And Mr. Gonzalez reminded me of my dad.
The boy, he looks like a pizza man. Hello, my name is Mario.
With his mustache and bright eyes. Then, when I turned 13, I guess, my mom said that she had fallen in love. I began staying
Yes.
overnight at the Gonzaleses from time to time, and Mrs. Gonzalez kept saying that my mom had a right to have her private life, so I shouldn't be angry at her. It wasn't my mom who I was angry at, by the way. That boyfriend of hers, Bob, was awful.
Oh my boy, he looks like. Wait, can we just see that over again? I need to see Bob. I need to see him. Bob looks
Mom had
like
a right
an
to have her
angry
private
troll.
life, so I shouldn't be angry at her. It wasn't my mom who I was angry at, by the way. That boyfriend of hers, Bob.
How can you fall in love with that? That looks like an ugly pizza man. Look at it. Are you kidding me? How can you fall in love with that?
Sometimes love is blind.
Looks like the back of my
Was
toilet.
awful. He wasn't tall or handsome. Actually, he reminded me a lot of a basset hound. I kept wondering why my pretty mom had even given him a second thought. I begged God to somehow get them to separate, but it might have been a bad prayer since soon afterward they got married and he moved in. While my mom seemed to be happy, my life turned into a nightmare. I'll give you some examples and you'll see. First of all, Bob didn't like any noise. So anytime he was at home, I was supposed to sit silently in my room or just leave the house. And he definitely thought that I was no longer a child and forced me to do the housework and to sort of serve him. I'll never forget the first time he demanded a sandwich. He asked my mom to bring it, apparently not knowing that she had already left for the grocery store. And when I told him that she wasn't there, he told me to bring him his lunch. I got lost and did it, but later I told my mom about everything. She said that it wasn't a big deal for me to feed my stepfather, and I would have probably agreed with her if this didn't keep happening again and again. You know, I love my mom, and I always thought that she deserved to be happy. But this time, I strongly doubted that this jerk Bob was her Prince Charming.
You
I
ugly
tried
Bob.
to talk to my mom about this, but she was sure she was in love.
Why
And
do you have
then,
banana
after
in your
some time had
nose?
passed, she told me that she was pregnant. I was excited about this news.
Boy, your baby is gonna look horrible. Your baby is gonna look like an ugly fat troll. It's gonna look like Yoda, but grown up Yoda. It's disgusting.
Because
You
I had
are
always looked at my friend
disgusting.
Enrico and his big friendly family, and I thought that I would like to have something like that in the future. But Bob was far from being the happy father to be. Day by day, he was getting more and more irritated and gloomy. From time to time, he would come home late and drunk, but more frequently, he was out of the house. I saw that my mom was upset by his behavior, and they fought a lot, whether it was over supper being cold or about a pair of pants that he couldn't find. From time to time, I noticed bruises on
Yeah, parents, they fight over stupid things.
my mom's
Oh my God, you have a bruise. My goodness, go call the cops.
body, but she told me she was just a little bit clumsy. I still don't know why Mom decided to have the baby if Bob was against it. Nevertheless, she continued working, and I kept helping her with the household chores, because the bigger the baby bump got, the harder it was for her to move, bend, and do other stuff like that. Sometimes Mom didn't feel very good, so I had to skip school and replace her at her work at the store so that she wouldn't lose her job. There was a guy at Mom's work, Cal. Yeah,
Is that a
he
girl
was
or a
actually
guy?
my first love and the guy who would completely twist my destiny. But you have to wait till the end to find out what happened. Anyway, he knew that I was just covering for Stacy. We decided to not say that I was my mom's daughter. And this was the only truth I was ready to tell him about my life. I lied about my parents. When we were talking about our families, I would talk about the Gonzaleses as if they were my real family. I just faked everything, my siblings, my parents, and my life. I saw how amazed Cal was while listening to my stories about family evenings and stuff, so I just kept lying. With time, we began seeing each other almost every day,
I
because
don't
it
like
had
it. He
become
looks like
really
a
hard for my mom to
girl
work in her
instead of a
condition.
boy. And his
And
neck
very
is
soon,
like-
I understood that he also liked me. I mean, a lot. One day, I came home and Mom and Bob were arguing loudly upstairs.
Ooh.
I tried to close the door as quietly as I could and sneak into my room, but suddenly I heard a wham sound, and after a few seconds, my mom fell down the stairs.
Oh my God.
Bob rushed to her while shouting at me to call 911. My hands were shaking, and for one single minute, I imagined that my mom was gone, and the fear that gripped my heart. As the doctor said, the fact that my mom fell down the stairs was fatal for the fetus. I won't even begin to tell you how devastating this information was for my mom. But you know what was interesting and a little bit scary?
What?
My mom didn't tell the police that Bob might have caused her to fall down the stairs. Neither did I, because I didn't actually see him do it. This was just my suspicion. I decided to talk to my mom and sort of tried to hint around that he might have done everything on purpose, but she didn't want to listen. She was like, "Oh no, you silly girl. It was an accident that I fell." She also said that every person has a different way of overcoming grief. But I seriously doubted that Bob was even sad about anything. In fact, his mood had gotten remarkably better.
This is too ugly. I'm not even gonna post this video. Just kidding. I hope you have a nice day. I'm not even gonna look. But just look at that. Bob is disgusting. Everyone's disgusting except for you guys because you hit the like button. Goodbye.